Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's council meeting, July the 14th, 2020. I'd like to please ask everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for the invocation by Reverend Robbie Scott. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's pray. Holy God, we thank you for this day, and we thank you for this time. Lord, we thank you for the servant leaders that are before us. And Lord, we ask you to be with leaders of industry, leaders of business, leaders of education, leaders of congregations and of communities, as this is a time when every decision is highlighted or argued about. Agreements and disagreements abound, and you know that, and I'm sure it angers you to see your children fussing so much. Lord, we ask you to bless these leaders before us with your wisdom, care, and protection. We ask you to bless our community with safety. We ask you to rebuke this virus that seems to be plaguing our country and the world. Give us wisdom as we strive to keep it from spreading. Give us grace as we make mistakes trying to avoid its clutches. And Lord, may we always seek your ways, and may we be reminded in your word that as we love our neighbors, we are fulfilling so much of your will. Be with us as we strive to endeavor to those things to your glory. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
I'd like to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Roll call, please. Here.
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 There are two council members to excuse from the council workshop on June 23rd. Are there any motions?
I'd like to make a motion to excuse council members Hurst and Kopp from our workshop on June 23rd.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Council should have received minutes for the meeting from June 9th and the workshop on June 23rd. Are there any motions for those minutes?
I can make a motion to accept the meetings or the minutes as presented.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Thank you. Manager Kline, is there any correspondence to council this evening?
Just one there, which I believe I passed out in the packet to you a few weeks ago. It's no piece of correspondence. It's just a personal letter from a few residents close here to town, showing their support to our police department and asking for continued support from the community and from council. That's all.
Thank you. Tonight there are three pieces of legislation on the agenda. An ordinance to amend the zoning map, a resolution for an OWDA grant, and also a resolution for water pumps. At this time, are there any comments from citizens regarding the legislation? Yes, sir. And in just 1 second, we'll open up a public hearing. So if you have specific or any comments specifically for the language, you can talk, or if you want to wait until we. Okay. At this time, seeing that there are none, I will declare a public hearing open. Or I'm sorry, I have to read it first, or do we read it?
I can read it first.
Okay, that way.
It's an ordinance to amend the official zoning map of West Milton as adopted by Chapter 150.006 of the West Milton Code of Ordinances.
I'll go ahead and declare that public hearing open now. So,
You want me to explain?
yeah.
Explain the zoning first? Tom, if you could, show us a Google map of the area, please. Okay. This is near Stone Meadows in 571. You'll see Izzy's there to the right. And it's the 5 acres, which is this ground right here. Yeah, where Tom has the pointer. It's approximately 5 acres of ground. It's currently zoned B3 business. And the owner is requesting that it be rezoned to R1A, which is what is surrounding it in Stone Meadows. It did go before a planning board. The planning board also held a hearing and is making a recommendation to the council for approval from a B3 to an R1A.
Thank you. Go ahead, sir.
What's R1A? What's the lot size going to be out there?
Single-family home, R1As are next to largest lot.
How many lots are you talking about?
I don't know. Right now, there is a concept plan that has been looked at and approved by the planning board, but the council doesn't approve that. That goes to planning board. So a preliminary plan has been ordered by the planning board, but it was ordered by the planning board back in January, I believe. Could have been February. And then COVID hit, and I have reached out to the engineer 3 or 4 times and have never gotten an answer, or anyone has not answered the phone. So I don't know where it is in design. I will tell you that the engineers have been very upfront with us that they have concerns about being able to drain them properly with storm sewer. So I think that's probably why they haven't submitted a preliminary plan.
Did they submit how many lots they wanted to put in there?
9,
On 5 acres,
yes.
with access to roads and stuff like that. My whole thing is I built my house out in Stone Meadows 14 years ago. And we had the covenants and everything like that in the council. I know you guys can't follow the covenants or nothing like that, and the setbacks. But I still come to you guys complaining and asking you to consider the land value around that. I mean, I don't want to see half-acre houses or third-acre houses to make my land value down. I pay my property taxes on time, every time, for 14 years now in this village. And a good sum. All I want to know is, I've heard there's going to put, they're talking about putting half-acre houses and nothing in consideration to anybody else. I know you guys don't follow the setbacks. I've seen that before. There's like 3 houses. You can't do that. I understand that. With the covenants, that's your city ordinance. All I want to do is protect my value, my wife's value. We've been here, we live here, and I don't want to see my property value go down anymore. It's just sickening. I'm just asking, everybody out there's got really nice houses. I just don't want to see houses upon houses, because in that 9 acres, you're going to have roads and everything else to do that. I'm just asking for, consideration that, maybe we can't do 9 houses, maybe we can do 7. I don't know.
The plan that they submitted is not gone as far as, it's not been approved at the planning board. So that is subject to change. So as of right now, we don't know what those lot sizes might be.
My biggest fear is, we had a house being built from a TK home, and it sold, and took the value of my house way down. I'm just trying to protect my value of my house. Me and my wife are getting up there. One day maybe I might want to sell it, and I don't want to take a beating on it.
I understand.
And I just want the council, every one of you guys, to realize that. I'm not asking for gold or nothing like that. I'm just wanting to protect what I got.
Absolutely.
So I have a question. Would you be okay with lot sizes similar to yours in that area?
Yeah,
Okay, so then I think your question is one more for the planning board than for the council.
well, I just got a meeting to come up here tonight. I got a
That's fine.
letter, so that's why I'm here. I mean, you guys are the ultimate deciders. There are plenty, you know, they can submit or do whatever. I've been on councils before. They can submit or, but you guys do the deciding factor, whether you accept or reject. I'm just asking you to.
So tonight, it's simply just to change it to residential.
And I'm fine with that, but we still have a water pressure issue out there. We still have a fire, when there's a fire out in, let's say, range line, they come into our hydrants, they hook up, they stop. The water pressure is at the bare minimum. Even with that new pump they put in, it still, they'll go somewhere else to get their water. I mean, you can go by after a bad structure fire, and the hoses are still laying. I mean, my water pressure's still not where it should be. I mean, I know it's not on you guys. I'm not pointing a finger or nothing like that. I'm just saying, I want to protect what I got, but I want nothing less.
Sure.
So, I know with the school and everything like that, and all these other annexations and stuff like that, you know, they talked about looping the water line from at the end of Stone Meadows back to 55. That was years ago. And there was another proposal when they built that subdivision out there, and one lot that just sold, they just built a house on it, had water lines to construct a new water tower. I don't want to see a new water tower, but I think the village really should have considered, I could have never told them that, because we're at the highest ground. We get the best water pressure, the highest ground. And I don't know, I don't want to cause a squabble. I'm like, I sit in your seats before and you get people up here and they only hear the bitch, but I'm not to do that. I just want to explain things to everybody to further the city.
Would you prefer businesses there or on that 5 acres or residential?
No, I'm fine with residential. I just don't want to see them stacked in there where they put a 1/3 acre lots and take away from the value from all of our houses out there.
Because really all we can do tonight is change it from being a business zone to a residential zone.
I
We
didn't
don't
know,
actually
I
change
didn't know,
that.
and I didn't know what residential, you have a couple of different residentials, right? What are they?
Off the top of my head, R1, R2, and I don't know the rest of them.
What's R1, there's R1 AA. R1A is what is out there. So that's what you are, R1A. So those lots have to be a minimum of 20-some thousand square feet. And each of those lots in the concept plan meets that criteria. They meet the frontage and the square footage,
The frontage of being what?
100 feet.
I mean, I'm just-
But that's the concept plan. That's not what's being, that hasn't, the preliminary, there's a concept plan and then there's a preliminary plat and a final plat. The preliminary plat has not been submitted at all. And I know why. It's because they're having problems trying to figure out how they're going to meet the stormwater drainage that is required. Now, to try to calm your concerns, the original concept plan was either 11 or 13 lots. And the planning board said no to that.
Okay, well, that's what I heard originally.
Yeah, no, it's the concept plan, it has been approved because it meets all of the setbacks, frontages, square footages is 9 lots. Can't be any more than that. If you try to put a 10th one in, then you're not going to meet the zoning.
I mean, I know there's runoffs and everything like that out there. I don't know, I'm just out here, I just want to protect myself, my wife, And my neighbors that are too elderly to come up here and hey, here I am. That's all I want. I just want to be considered some stuff. I mean, we've had setbacks out there and stuff like that, I mean, I'm going back to Marty Gabbard, where I was given no variances, but nobody else complied to that. A lot of people didn't apply for permits to do anything out there. And there's a lot of stuff out there that shouldn't be out there. And I don't really care, I don't want to see the more of it.
I think we understand and hear you, and the next step is to see what the preliminary plans are, and then go from there, right? So,
I'm just asking
Yeah.
to consider
yeah.
me and my wife as a taxpayer and everybody else out there, we've paid these premium taxes for a while, 14 years plus, but I mean, I love West Milton. I like, the fact that they even acknowledge the police department, that's really good. Everybody else is turning their back on them. Now, I won't do that either, so that's not part of this, I just want to say thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. And, sir, just for our record, can I get your name real quick?
My name is Rick Marker. I live at 270 Stone Meadows Boulevard.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Merrick.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Scott Vogel. I live at 35 King Court, and I've already been up twice before maybe, talking about this. I'm just concerned about one thing, to make sure that, especially us neighbors that live on Canyon Court, where this is going to drain behind our homes, and I don't know, this is a question for Matt. I know we got a letter because this went to council to change it from B3 to R1A. Will we also get notified with the preliminary plans when this goes to the planning board, that we will be able to come to the planning board meeting?
Oh, sure. I mean, I'll be happy to do that. Everyone that got a letter on this, we'll include you for a planning board meeting
Okay.
for the preliminary plat, sure.
I'd just like to definitely be included in that. I'm totally supportive of changing it to R1A. I think that's great. I'm just concerned about the 9 homes with the current plan, and the drainage is what myself and the Bowmans and the Kelchners, because our homes all are right behind where that area will drain. So just as long as we get notified, that's all I ask for.
I can't say this as a fact, but I can
Thank you.
surmise. Sorry, Scott.
No,
Thank you.
it's fine.
I can only surmise that we haven't been actually given a preliminary plan because we want them to drain it. Oh, sorry. He took away the Google map. We want it to drain to Stone Meadows. So for everyone's edification, if you can see, everything sort of drains to this corner right here. And then Mr. Fogel lives back here, and you'll see that natural, so this water on a big heavy rain will start to drain this way. When we had the concept plan, it's just a single road with a cul-de-sac, and we're trying to have them drain it to Stone Meadows. Not to me, to Stone Meadows.
There's not going to be an access road to 571?
No, no. So that's really, I'm only that's a guess, but I'm guessing since that's what we're asking them to try to do, they're having a difficult time trying to figure out how to do that.
Any other comments tonight? All right, I'll go ahead and declare the public hearing closed. And are there any motions for CM-20-15?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we accept CM-20-15 as written.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Land,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Hurst,
Yes.
Warren,
Yes.
Tracy,
Yes.
Hughes,
Yes.
and Mayor White.
Yes. Moving on to CM-20-19, a resolution for a grant. Ms. Brosh.
It's a resolution to authorize the municipal manager to apply for, accept, and enter into a cooperative agreement with the construction of the Ludlow Falls Sanitary Sewer Project between the municipality of West Milton and the Ohio Water Development Authority. Whereas Ludlow Falls Sanitary Sewer Project is a construction project involving the installation of a sanitary sewer collection system to be included into the West Milton treatment plant. The system will be owned and operated by the Village of West Milton. And whereas the municipality of West Milton desires to obtain funding from the Unsewered Community Program from the Ohio Water Development Authority, hereinafter referred to as the OWDA, to finance the cost of the construction of such facilities on the terms set forth in the cooperative agreement, Exhibit A. And whereas the OWDA has indicated its willingness to make a contribution for that purpose and on those terms. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Municipality of West Milton, Ohio, that Section 1, the council authorizes the municipal manager and the finance director to execute the cooperative agreement with the OWDA substantially in the form set forth in Exhibit A. Section 2, the council acknowledges that all formal actions related to the passage of this resolution were passed in an open meeting of council in compliance with all legal requirements, including Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. Section 3, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after its passage.
Thank you. Manager.
I believe this is the fourth of the 4 grants that we have received. Just to give everyone an update as to where we're at, several years ago, a study was done that concluded that the Village of Ludlow Falls, the most cost-effective way to provide sanitary sewer for the residents there was to basically tie in to the Village of West Milton's sewer system. Over the course of several years, we worked hard at making applications for grants for this project. The engineer's estimate for this project was $3.4 million, I believe. And we did put this out to bid. The low bid was $2.69 million in change, almost $2.7 million. Just to remind everybody and remind council, we got $1 million from the Army Corps of Engineers, a $600,000 grant that you've already accepted a few months ago from Community Development Block Grant, CDBG. We have also, this one is a $500,000 grant from Ohio Water Development Authority, OWDA, and we also received $1 million from Ohio EPA. The Ohio EPA one is the last one it has to trigger, and that one won't trigger until August. So it triggers as soon as you accept the contract for the $2.7 million contract. So as soon as that happens, then the $1 million falls in. So that if you were doing any math, we were able to receive $3.1 million in grants for a $2.7 million project. Quite frankly, that's unheard of. It's just unheard of. So we will be presenting that contract to council in the August meeting. That's when the Ohio EPA $1 million one kicks in. My apologies, we did not go over this at our workshop because usually I wouldn't bring $500,000 to you without discussing it, but it is a grant, and I was told in no uncertain terms last week that it had to be done this month, so then the EPA one kicks in August. So apologies, and that's why it was in the 11th hour when we brought this up.
Thank you, Manager Kline. Is there any discussion by council? Are there any motions?
I'd like to make a motion to accept resolution CM-20-19 as written.
Second?
Roll call?
Lamb?
Yes.
Cobb?
Yes.
Hertz?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Tracy?
Yes.
Hughes?
Yes.
And Mayor Miller.
Yes. Last on the agenda tonight is CM-20-20, a resolution for water pumps. Ms. Brosh.
It's a resolution authorizing the purchase of water pumps for the water pump station for Stillwater Crossings. Whereas the creation of the Stillwater Crossings development requires the construction of a water pump station. And whereas the municipality of West Milton uses Grundfos pumps and the water system and wishes to remain consistent within the system. And whereas the lead time for these pumps can be up to 6 months. And whereas the pumps, along with the construction of the pump house, is being financed through an OPWC loan. And it has been determined that the sole source supplier of these pumps is Jags Environmental Incorporated in Erlanger, Kentucky. And whereas at the council meeting held on July 14th, 2020, council waived the formal bidding process for the purchase of the Grundfos pumps to the special nature of the situation to conduct a formal bidding process that would benefit the municipality as is required in section 33.189 of the municipal code. Now therefore be it resolved by the council of the municipality of West Milton, Ohio, that section 1, the municipal manager is hereby authorized and directed to purchase 3 close coupled end suction pumps by Grundfos in the amount of $225,000 from Jags Environmental Incorporated of Erlanger, Kentucky. Section 2, this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after its passage.
Thank you, Ms. Brosh.
We tried to lay out all the whereases as to the reasoning we're bringing this to you also in the 11th hour. My apologies. But I learned late last week that there's a 6-month lead time on these pumps. The reason I'm bringing it up this way is after clearing it with the law director and clearing it with OPWC, that we could be the supplier of the pumps and take that out of the bid documents for the construction of the pump house. It's just buying us literally 6 to 8 weeks of additional time to get these here. Why is that important? The development is ahead of schedule. We are anticipating, or we're hoping that you'll see the first model homes being built in September. So if the market is what Ryan Homes believes the market to be, they could be selling homes by October, November, and they're a machine. They build these things quickly. So you could theoretically have some people moving in by January, but how would you feel if you bought a brand new house and your water pressure was low? So it's just literally buying us that because once we put this out for bid, which will be put out for bid in the next couple weeks, there's probably no way we're ever going to make the August meeting. We could probably have a special meeting at the end of August during our workshop, but that's another 2 weeks. So that's where I'm coming up with the math of 6 to 8 weeks. More likely, we wouldn't be approving a contract for the pump house until September, and then the order would be placed. I'm just trying to buy us time to because the rest of the project, pouring the concrete, bringing in the buildings, drilling it and hooking, there's a couple months worth of work there. But having the pumps will be the last thing brought in, but everything else has to be done first. It's just trying to keep up with the pace that is being brought to us. So it's been approved by OPWC. We have a $580,000 loan to build this. The engineer's estimate is that the vast majority of it is a $225,000 worth of pumps. We got approval by them to be able to do it this way. It's very specific language that there is only a sole source provider. That is to meet all of the rules and regulations that we must follow. So again, apologies for bringing this up, but I just learned of it probably Wednesday or Thursday last week.
So the cost of the pumps are going to be on the loan that we've already received.
That's correct.
We're not taking out a new loan.
No, that's correct, yes. So obviously, the contract for the pump house will be $225,000 plus markup that we don't have to pay because we're buying it directly from the manufacturer.
Yeah.
Question. Did I fall asleep and we, waived that formal bidding process already?
We did not.
Okay.
That has to be put in there for the OPWC language.
Okay.
So that's what you're doing tonight if you should pass the resolution.
Okay.
You'll need to do that before you pass the resolution, so.
we already own some of these pumps.
Yes, they're the only pump that we use in the entire water system.
I mean, this
That's
is
correct.
just how much they cost and.
Yes. Two of them, Ben, do you remember? One's a 100,000 gallon pump per, and then the other two are 80, I believe.
Sounds right.
Any other discussion?
I'd like
Can
a,
we ask questions on that?
I'm sorry, sir?
Can we ask questions on that?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Mr. Merker.
With the water we receive from, I guess, Troy,
Hmm.
will that supply everything, including all the other stuff? I mean, at one time I was told that they was talking about looping from Inglewood too. I don't know if that's true or not.
No, well, I can talk a little bit about the water system, give you a Reader's Digest version. We did do 2 studies.
Okay.
Tying it into either the city of Dayton or the city of Union would actually lessen the quality of the water that we currently have, would also hydrologically reverse flow and would cause complete havoc into our system, and would actually be more expensive than staying with the city of Troy.
Okay, that's good enough. I just was wanting to know, with everything going on, with the water that's coming in, if it's going to be able to supply everything.
Oh, yeah, for absolutely. The city of Troy is probably only using a quarter to a third of their capacity.
Okay.
And we're by far their number 1 customer.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to waive the formal bidding process for the purchase of the Grandoff pumps.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I'd like to make a motion to accept Resolution CM-20-20.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Land?
Yes.
Cobb? Yes. Hurst?
Yes.
Horn?
Yes.
Tracy?
Yes.
Hughes?
Yes.
And Mayor Miller.
Yes. Manager Kline.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, guests, welcome. I've gone over half my report already with the resolutions, but just a couple updates. It always seems what the newest rumor is, so everyone keeps encouraging me to squash the rumors during my report. What last month was, the development was $2 million over budget and was going to bankrupt the city, but the city's not paying for anything, so that's not true, and it's not over budget. It's actually ahead of schedule. They're anticipating, they're hoping, weather permitting, and they continue to have good luck in the construction, to be looking at asphalt paving of streets by September sometime. So, in fact, all the water and sewer lines are installed in the first phase of the homes. And in fact, the fire department has been gracious enough to allow us to use a 4-inch hose. You might notice it on the 571 bridge that's feeding water to the development right now, because when we do our water taps, and we have to do bacterial testing of the lines, making sure that the lines are holding pressure properly, that there's no leaks, and we actually do those taps under pressure. So that maintains the integrity of the health of the interior of the water line. Just that 4-inch water line alone is actually bringing a decent pressure. So the pump house, when it's built, will supply proper pressure for the development. Here's the part for the rumors. I can assure you that I've seen first draft of architectural renderings for the Randall House. The Randall House is an anchor tenant for the development and continues to be an anchor tenant for the development. That was last week's rumor that they said no. That's simply not true. I wouldn't think that they would spend that much money on architectural renderings and then say no.
Matt,
I've
quick
also-
question
yes.
with that.
Mhm.
What's the timeline on that being built?
They still have a lot of work to do from an
Okay.
architectural design standpoint. Once they have that, then they have to get their own financing in place, and it's probably a $17 to $20 million construction. So they don't just write a check for that. So they'll have to do their own financing. But I would hope and anticipate that sometime in 2021 they would break ground. We're hoping.
Okay.
The Ryan Homes, 40 lots will be ready to go when they first do their model home, sorry. And then I also know that the architect, there's a different architect that's rendering the convenience store, gas station, car wash. That's also going to include 2 fast food restaurants at the corner. So everything's proceeding along as scheduled. He has also been interviewing and talking with a few landscape architects and has shared some concept signage with us as to, I don't know exactly what the main gate entrance is going to look like, but that's what he's interviewing right now, is landscape architects for that area. So things are proceeding ahead of schedule. So we're pleased. A couple other things just to let the public know and been communicating with council on. Well, at the end there, the last thing that we're waiting on for Stillwater Crossings is the designs for gas, electric, and telecommunications. Once those have been submitted and approved, they'll be going in hopefully here in the next month or so, we hope. Speaking of telecommunications, we have had discussions and we have some concept ideas. We are looking at the construction of our own municipal broadband. What does that mean? Municipal broadband is basically fiber optic, bringing it to your home and to your business. The goal is to offer fiber optic to the home and businesses that's going to be faster, more reliable, and less expensive for each of our customers. We believe that this can be achieved and will become an excellent source of economic development tool for us for the future. And when I say economic development, I'm actually talking about not only providing you or your child, your grandchild, with better internet. I think we've learned anything that COVID-19 has occurred, that it's difficult for a child to learn at home without even internet access. Our school district is almost 15% of our children do not have internet access. We have contracted with Connected Nation Ohio, who has done mapping for us, which we will be sharing with council at our next workshop, we hope. It's shown to me and been very apparent that there are what's called digital red lines in our town, meaning our elderly, our poor, are not being given access to proper internet. And that's just not right. We need to bring all of us up to a higher standard. And we believe we can do that. The next obvious thing that all of us, including most especially me, needs to have we will be conducting a return on investment study over the next several weeks to find out the cost of this and what the potential economic value can be for not only the village itself as a government, but really for our residents and our citizens. So if it's financially viable, then it probably will be our recommendation that we proceed ahead. We really think that there are a lot of potential job creators. Not only do we want people living here, we want people working here. And we strongly believe that that can be our tool that would put us hopefully head and shoulders above our neighbors. So that's one thing we've been working on. The other thing we've been working on is if I had to guesstimate one of our number one complaints that our office receives, it's garbage and refuse service. To the point where we have done an economic study. We know for a fact that we can provide that service, that we can finance the capital that needs to be done, that we can provide a better, cleaner, faster, more reliable service to our residents and our businesses, and that we can reduce the bill for each and every one of us. I have to admit that I came up with the concepts and the idea, and then my detail person is Ben Herron, and he's been working diligently on that. And if it's all right, I'd like to give Ben a few minutes just to talk to you about what he has learned thus far and where we are at presenting a plan for you.
So in short, when Matt came to me and we started talking about it, you know, Matt's main points were, one, can we save our residents money? Which is usually one of the very first things that we discuss. Two, can we do a better service? And I think after like 2 or 3 minutes, we quit talking about can, and it turned into how can we do this? Been moving at light speed, really. I mean, so if you figure our contract ends at the end of this year, there's ordering and things that have to take place, mainly through state bid agencies, so that we can get our orders in the loop. And first thing we wanted to do, because I'm like, I really want to see it. You know, I can look at papers, but I really want to see it. So myself and Clint, who's our service foreman, and then Steve Stoss, who's our main mechanic, went over to Troy and spent the better part of a day over there watching them. They have the same setup that we would have, which is very hands-off the trash, but a lot more efficient with the pickup, less manpower, cleaner. And they basically have been doing it, I think, with this current system for about 8 years. And it was amazing what they have it down to now. They've actually, I don't want to say trained the residents, it makes it sound weird, but they've enlightened the residents on how good trash pickup can be and how to keep your neighborhoods cleaner, which Matt can tell you that he probably wants to do this because he's tired of me calling him and telling him about trash. That's a whole nother deal. But we can do this. There's no doubt in my mind. We can do a lot better. Not that waste management's doing terrible, I'm not saying that, but we're in a throwaway society. So Monday through Sunday, if you decide you don't want something, you take it out to the curb. And then everybody goes by and looks at it until the trash company comes. There's a lot of things that we can do that waste management doesn't have the ability to do. Cost-wise, like I said, we're just scratching the surface on this, but I definitely see this being cost savings to the residents. So along with our visit to Troy, which is probably the best place for us to go and look, Covington also has the same service, but we're a little bit broader. We have a little bit more, a lot more neighborhoods, a lot more tight spaces, things like that. So the second part would be, what are we going to have to do this? George Luce, who when he came up and talked to me, it turns out I met him like 30 years ago. He worked for Greenville 30 years ago. I was here, and he walked up, and it was like seeing an old friend, because I don't see a lot of people that I talked to 30 years ago anymore. So he isn't really a pushy type salesman. He wants to set you up for what works best for you. It helps him, it helps his business, but it also helps us. So we've looked at a couple different pieces of equipment already. State bid, he's got maybe a demo unit here or there. So we're already not only looking at something that's state bid price, but we're also looking at something that might be a demo unit that's even cheaper. So in short, we've already, I'd say within a couple of weeks, I would have a good recommendation to Matt on what we should probably be looking at to order. I will tell you that one of the pieces, which would be the main trash collection truck, has a very long lead time. It's called a Libre truck, and it's in high demand right now. That would be the one thing that would that's kind of why I'm rushing stuff to Matt. And two, I just can't help it. I always rush stuff to him. It's just what I do. So we can do this. We will save money and we will do a better job. But so I'm just like, how soon can we, let's get this cranked up, let's go. So, I have information, but I wasn't gonna get too detailed in it yet till maybe we get a little more facts together, but, another week or two, we'll be ready to answer a lot of questions.
So obviously, we'll keep this on the forefront, and it'll be a workshop discussion item until council feels comfortable to either tell us yea or nay. And that's all I have for this evening, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ben.
Any old business for council this evening? Any new business? No? Okay. Any comments by citizens this evening?
Did we approve the, our way?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Did you know?
Yes, sir.
Jason Timmerman, Water Street, Westmore. I just want to state how nice it's been during all this upheaval, wherever your personal opinions are on what's going on in the community and how great it is to live in this type of community that takes care of each other, especially the people that live here, but also our leadership and city council. Just the simple part of allowing people to push water bills back, a lot of financial and emotional stress on people. And so I commend you guys for working through everything that you had to. No one knows or had a game plan for anything. I'm sure there's still going to be things that are thrown your way, but thank you. It's you've done a fine job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are going to go into a short executive session after this, and after that, we are not going to be conducting any business. So it's up to you guys. If you'd like to hang around, feel free. You don't have to. There will be no other discussion or any other business after that. But we are not adjourning the meeting just yet. So.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move that council adjourn into a executive session to discuss the purchase or sale of property for a public purpose as permitted by section 4.12B5 of the West Milton Charter.
Second.
Roll call.
Land,
Yes.
Pop,
Yes.
Hurst,
Yes.
Horn,
Yes.
Tracy, Hughes,
Yes.
Mayor Miller.
Yes.
Because we're trying to stay distance, we're not going to go to the conference rooms, too many people, too small. So we'll take 5 minutes and clear the area and shut the wall up and everything, and everyone can stretch, and then we'll go back.